And we're back in Japan. A very successful opener at Fuji, and the crowd has turned up at Kyoto Driving Park for the Yamagiwa variant and round two, races 3 and 4, Japanese Super Touring Championship action for you to look forward to. Adrian Michael Rees here, alongside me is Michael Swinnerton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon indeed.
It's this is a relatively new venue for everyone involved, and hence a couple of surprises. Most notably, uh, one of the title favourites, Gordon Butcher, is I was going to say plumb last, but no, he's back row. Not got the most out of the brand new car, and the factory effort should be doing better anyway. We see that Narusai is on row 4, 8th on the grid, but it's the regular, well, say it's only the second round regulation, what we expected to see through testing. Honda and Mazda front row for both alternating. Jack Scaife on pole. Keiko Katayama alongside. Nice sunny day. And away they go. Away go the Mazdas. They've got the four-wheel drive advantage, of course. So that means the Hondas have been swamped, as does the third Mazda of Takuma Nakajima. We've seen how well they've done at Fuji. 180R, turn 1, through the snake. This is going to be the fastest traffic jam known to man before we head to Apricot Bend. Named because it looks like an apricot, apparently.
I guess that was what they were thinking. Yeah, I mean, those Hondas really got swamped at the start there, which is sadly to be expected given the drivetrain disadvantage they currently have.
And there are two more four-wheel drive cars as well. The Subarus, we can see Nakano in the Mitsubishi. Also, and is Ingram.
Yeah, back end of the top 10, just sitting there comfortably in the points, ahead of any of the other privateers, apart from Nakajima so far. That's going to be good points for them if they keep that up.
Hill climb into hairpin. Fairly self-explanatory these turns.
Meanwhile, the Mazdas 1, 2, and 3 here, just pulling away from the rest of the field so far. I think Scaife is going to have to either get around Nakajima pretty quickly and not make too much of a meal out of it. Otherwise, he's going to have a pair of angry Subarus beating down his door.
One of the Mitsubishis just got into Satoru Suzuki into the penultimate turn.
Oh,
Final
whoops.
bend. Not the most spectacular of venues, but still a very good facility nonetheless.
I think this place was built for GT500 in mind, which is why the turns are, you know, these big wide radius jobs that they're thinking cars with a lot more downforce than these guys going through there.
Maybe picking up the pieces that Fuji had lost in the redesign to be a bit more like F1. Obviously a bit more challenging.
Meanwhile, here at the back, it's a bit of a scrum for who wants the wooden spoon. Frentzen trying to make some progress off of her lowly qualifying position in that BMW. They haven't quite worked out the foibles with that brand new car. They were really struggling with it at Fuji.
It looks like not last because Butcher is still behind there.
And poor old Fujiwara in that ancient Civic is already struggling to keep up. I think they're already looking forward to next year and potentially a new car showing up for them.
And I hear people saying, wait a minute, that Honda's not that old. In racing terms, it is.
Yes. In racing terms, that thing is almost ready to go start racing in classic car championships.
It's good. It's not necessarily making up the numbers. I mean, it would be pulling a bit further back than that. So it's good practice for that team, which was their aim, really, wasn't it? It was just to
Yes.
be a sighter for what is there in the future. On board, Degrassi. Closing in on Lotterer. These Mercedes, a little bit more improvement shown from the surprise four-wheel drive outfit. Perhaps sticking out like a sore thumb, despite the minor popularity of not only the German mark that we were on board with as well, and the BMW. But touring cars, you think these cars right now. And there's Butcher starting to close in on Ellen Frenson. Decent train here. Spread not that spread out. Long lap, very quick lap. Minute and 50 seconds. I'm expecting that to be falling down very quickly. So Personia still leads. Katayama's up, Mazda 1-2. Scaife now up to third, ahead of Nakajima. So what they've lost at the start, almost similar to the gain that rear-wheel drive cars used to lose in touring car days of old. There's the Subaru closing in as well. Rustad up to fourth.
It almost looked like they were going to catch the Honda midway through that corner complex before they started to pull away again. Nakajima just falling down the order now as he gets overtaken by Takahashi and the other Subaru. He's got to gather himself back together if he wants to mount a charge. But he is still a privateer in a manufacturer's playground here, and that might start to take effect here.
Yeah, that mentality still. With privateers are doing well. The factory support is definitely there. It's good showing for the boys in blue, 4th and 5th. They weren't that high up at Fuji, if I remember correctly. Ingram, though, this is the sort of ballpark you'd expect it to be in at the end of this race.
Maybe. So I mean, they are still going for privateer honours, but as we've already made clear, the age-old rivalry of Subaru versus Mitsubishi must be observed and respected. So wherever Subaru are, the Mitsubishi boys will want to be there as well.
So currently, must try harder.
Though, the Subarus are within sight, and that's a hell of a move.
That's a move. Well, we saw he has form. This is his first season in four-wheel drive, and he is not only a duck to water, I'm pretty sure he's set up his own house in that regard. Closing in on one of the said Subarus, so this will be, that's one way to maintain a rivalry. Bit of a bump up the back there for Takahashi, but is there going to be a dive bomb into the chicane?
Not from the Mitsubishi, but from the Honda in front by the looks of things.
And that means Scaife is back ahead of, that's Suzuki, sorry, that's the other Honda started again.
So as of right now, it is Mazda, Honda, Subaru. All formation flying in the top 6 so far.
And hopefully this
and then we get to a scrum of 3 privateers all battling it out for 7th place, because somehow Nomura's made his way up the grid. Not sure where he's come from.
But then, danger. What's happened to Nakajima as he's hitting every branch on the way down the tree? There's Ide and the other Chase Crown athlete. These have been performing very well. All of the feedback from the world's gone in. It is quite literally the car, different paint scheme, under budget, but doesn't matter. Ide wants this thing to work, as we said so many times before, and all things considered, doing the job so far. Anything more is a bonus.
They've definitely started to prove that this car's still got life and competition left in it with their performance at Fuji, and they're backing it up again. Ide just on the outside of the top 10, looking like he's going to make it in, especially with Nakajima continuing to fall down the order, and Nomura up to 8th.
Well, this should be good news for the reverse grid, but it's closing in on these Subarus we've been talking about.
Whilst we were looking at that, Ingram has managed to find his way past both of them. got one Mitsubishi in front of both Subarus, but the other Mitsubishi of Nakano, sadly nowhere to be seen.
The pride of Mitsubishi House so far. It would be the shame of Subarus if this chased team do the business in the remaining laps. Pizzonia's just gone under the 1 minute 50 mark. We knew there was going to be time to be got out of this. And I think with a clean track in front of him, that could, I mean, it's taken a whole second out of the previous lap by the looks of it, actually. Here's his teammate though, and there's the Hondas starting to gain. Making up ground for the bad start they had, well, the almost enforced start they had compared to the four-wheel drive competitors. Ingram up to 5th, as well we know.
Yeah, you say the lap time will continue to come down. I'm confident it will. As
we just did. That's another whole second. Well, I would say
yeah,
4/10
into the 48th. But Scaife's pole lap time was a 1:43.227.
Blimey.
So, I mean, obviously they're running qualifying setup, lower fuel, so on and so forth. So it's always, you know, race pace is always going to be a bit slower, but there is definitely a lot of time to be made up here.
Puff of smoke from one of the Mazdas there as the battle is a 4, nay 5 car effort heading down the drop.
This is now definitely Mazda versus Honda with Ingram the wild card here as Katayama has a look for the lead. Backs out of it. They stay formation flying for now, but if they're not careful, they keep fighting, they keep slowing each other up. Those Subarus are right there, as is Nomura. This could end up being an 8-car battle for the lead here.
Yeah, all this time, whilst there is a Toyota in 8th, it's not the Toyota everyone expected it to be. We're going to see Naruse struggling in the midfield somewhere along the line. We just saw glimpses of it. There was an overtake being had by that car, but not enough to get into the major points paying positions as these cars are currently in, including Winterbottom's. I wouldn't say underperforming, but it's you know, Alton's got a good position behind some of the factory guys at the front. There's Nakano. He rambled. E-Day scraping into the top 10, so aiming for P1 race 2. Schumacher's Mercedes, that's a better position to be in than it was at Fuji. But the other one has started to trickle down the order. Now has got Fujiwara to not look forward to being behind. But Sonia, Katayama, Suzuki, there's your top 3. Ingram has jumped in front of Scaife, and therefore that's why you've got that gap there. Mustad Takahashi 6th and 7th. Apricot Bend.
Yeah, it looks like at the moment Suzuki might have the quicker car than the two Mazdas in front of him. He just needs to be careful sizing up his opportunities and going for the right lunges at the right time. Because the last thing he wants is to back it all up again and make it an 8-car train for the lead.
The dive bomb should have been on a bit sooner than that.
That was not the best of efforts. He's given himself a gap now. So the Mazdas now have a little bit of breathing room. They need to work together, really, in order to maintain this lead.
It's looking good for Mazda so far. Second half of the race to go. The train, it's a long lap. I don't think that's too far spread out, though.
No.
Between first and last.
We've seen worse over similarly length laps in other series.
Ingram still 4th.
Yeah, just with a comfortable gap now in between the two Hondas.
I'm surprised Scaife has bailed out. Something must have, there must have been some kind of collision there. E-Day 9th now. These places are changing behind our backs. Winterbottom's down to 11th. As Nakajima still trying to maintain some level of sanity, having been at the front of the field early on. Very good start from the Mazda 6. Sorry, Atenza.
I mean, you know, you're not wrong. Mazda
Winterbottom.
6/Atenza. Breaking up through the S's, I'm not sure that's entirely necessary.
6 tens. That doesn't work.
Funny feeling Winterbottom is going to get past. This move is a when, not an if. That poor old
Is the
Mazda
move
just
gonna be
not
on?
quite behaving as it was in qualifying, because Nakajima did get a very good qualifying effort. So maybe they miscalculated the setup on a, you know, regarding a full fuel load versus a 2-lap.
Very keen down the inside. They were very keen to eat grass on what doesn't have a curb on it. That sort of little feint after Apricot Bend. They all seem to be going that away.
Yeah, slightly cutting the corner there. I mean, it's allowed. They've still got 2 wheels on the white line, so it's not like they're going to incur the wrath of the clerk of the course there.
And we're seeing Ellen Frenson in cahoots with Narusai. This is very good for the privateer BMW driver, doubly bad for the factory-backed, quit the World Championship to take part in this championship, Toyotas, who can't, well, 1 point. At the end of this race, it'll be 1 point if it stays like this. That's going to be drama. I mean, we've seen how, like, when we think of BMW's underperformance in the World Season 2, we were thinking, what's going on here? This is worse.
Yeah, even if it stays this way, this is still a good day for that Caterpillar team and Frenton. Looking at the outside,
Well,
that's
then.
brave.
That was brave. That would have been amazing had it actually been a full execution of that move. I think it would have been on. I think the confidence in Ellen.
I think the BMW has the grip, and she did set her personal best lap time that last time by. And as I say, this is still going to be a good day for them, because this is still an improvement on their performance at Fuji there.
Apricot Bend. What a train we got with the Nakano Mitsubishi holding this pile up. The move could be on for the chicane. Oh no, I thought Frenton would have had the speed there. She's bailed out of that one.
However,
Butcher's fallen back behind the Volkswagen. There's Muto and Schumacher. So Schumacher's finally surrendered 13th. Having had such a good effort in that car, all things considered, still very, very fresh. Factory-backed effort from Mercedes in an arena that they still have difficulty adapting to. They're getting there. They have been saying that yes, they may have excuses, but they don't want to say excuses. As
2
around
for
the
1
outside
deal,
goes,
going the wrong way.
More points for Toyota. They've doubled their.
Nakano just got mugged through that entire complex, got put offline by Muto, which then allowed Schumacher to get through, which then allowed Marusei to get through. And now if he's not, he's got to be careful here, because it looks like Frenton and possibly Butcher are going to have a go at the Mitsubishi after this. This is a big fall from grace, given his good qualifying position. Yep, and there goes Frenton down the inside.
I still think it's going to be some level of a lottery because it's still relatively new, and of course that car still relatively new. All the work's effort behind it, just luck of the draw to a degree. Should be better, could be better, but these three are inseparable.
Just doing a bit of formation flying for the moment. I don't know if Suzuki's going to have a look into the complex here.
Almost.
He has a little bit of a look. I think that was more just to try and put off Katayama, which didn't work because he's once again lost time to the 2 Mazdas in front, like he did a couple of laps ago.
Safe back ahead of Ingram after that chicane.
Still, I doubt Ingram's going to be...
nope,
never mind. Straight back around Scaife again. Oh!
Oh, hello, naughty.
Oh, that didn't quite work, did it?
Complete lack of focus, almost. Well, the move was on. I guess he was a bit. Well, I'm trying to work out.
I don't think Scaife quite realised just how alongside Ingram was there up the inside of him, because it looked like Scaife just went for the apex without realising there was a car there.
I think you have to be playing referee between him and Scaife later.
But,
When I
well,
avoid.
ultimately, no harm done. They're still 4th and 5th. The Subarus are still behind them. Yes, they've lost time, but they haven't lost positions. So they can start to pull away from the formation flying Subarus and Nomura here, as well as Ide, and try and catch back up again. Just spread themselves out, going through the S's up the hill here.
It's the pattern is a bit disconcerting, where we're seeing 2x2, almost 2x2. One sort of rogue element in the Ingram Mitsubishi further up.
Yeah, considering his teammate is now sadly out of the points, having been barged aside by several cars now.
Back ahead of Scaife, obviously.
Nomura and Ide now looking a bit racy, sort of squabbling over each other as to who's going to try and take the fight to the Subarus, because I think they think they're quicker right now.
And then the two Genocide are 11th and 10th. So, yeah,
Formation
still
flying.
early days, still an early days championship. So, no doubt the organizer will want to sort of get everyone to have a bit of a wake-up call. Here's narrow sight on Schumacher back up to 13th. These Corollas have finally found some kind of footing. They've not been held up, I don't think. Well, by anyone else except for Schumacher now.
Yeah, I think their biggest mistake here has been they've just missed the setup, whether it's, you know, the downforce levels are too low or they haven't quite got the spring race right. You know, either way, both cars are adopted for a similar setup, as Butcher is now having to defend from Frentzen, who wants a point, a singular point to start off her independent title run. But yeah, I think that where these Toyotas have got similar setups on board, that's what's screwed them over with a poor qualifying effort, put them mired back in traffic. And they've made up some places. They've got themselves just into the points barely, but they're going to lose a lot of ground in championship standings being down here.
It's not a good look considering what we said earlier. That car was meant to be whatever drivetrain form, meant to be in the World Championship, and Toyota thought, you know what, no, never mind, we'll do this instead. But they have been upstaged by, well, practically everyone. Pitsonia leading into the final sector. These cars still getting close, but very much paired up. It does look very neat and tidy. But Nomura might have a say here into the hairpin.
Got
That
to be
might have been a
careful getting
little
into the
bit
quarter
naughty.
panel like that.
Mind you, there goes Jack Scaife falling back. There's Rostad ahead. All change in the final turns. However, Pitsonia scalded cat at the start and never looked back. Ingram with the fastest lap on the final lap almost, but let's see what these 3-4 cars can do as they storm into view. 30 points, maximum points for Mazda's team effort. Finally Ingram across the line on the podium. So a very good run from him at the end. A four-wheel drive podium outright. Winterbottom with the best that Genesis could do, which was very good nonetheless. Nakajima fell from grace, and Toyota only 1 point paying position as Frentzen does get a point in, and Fujiwara clinging onto the shirt tails of everyone else. Not shameful either way you look at that. That was, well, what can we say except that was a race? I mean, there were some events, but I don't think it was as eventful as our opening gambit in Fuji.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was still a good race, still enjoyable. We still had some action going on there. This is another big, wide track, just like Fuji. So, you know, not surprising that we saw similar levels of aggression from all the drivers because they have the room to maneuver and the room to spread out, and they're not so impacted together. But, we've got a reverse grid coming up with Winterbottom on pole, and those two crown athletes are going to be second and third. So there's every chance they can stink up the show like they did last time round at Fuji.
That is going to be some level of spice indeed. And the sort of festival atmosphere can continue. We'll be back for race two. Will be dry. The weather has looked promising all weekend. There's not going to be a raindrop in sight, and we'll expect to see you soon for race two. Good racing, everyone.